All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 7:01 and we are mostly all here with a quorum, so we'll rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call, please. Chandra?
Alderman Elder?
Here. Here. Did you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Heather.
Oh, thank you.
Alderman Flores?
Here.
Alderman Galloway? Alderman Poston?
Here.
Alderman Smith?
Here.
Alderman Stewart?
Heidi ho.
We have 5 aldermen present. We have a quorum.
All right, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of March 1st? Motion made by Poston. Do I have a second? Smith, or good grief, Stewart. Motion made by Poston, seconded by Stewart to approve the minutes of March 1st. All in favor? All right. All right, Ms. Seitz, you're up next. Please proceed, and good evening.
Good evening. It's always a pleasure to present. And do I have screen sharing abilities?
You should, but Sam has left the room for a minute, so Steve was.
Oh, no.
Oh, Sam says yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it is open. Okay, I wanted to just share this. I believe that it's the February update that is in your packets, but because of the way that this meeting falls, we are well into March, as you know. So I'll also give you some highlights for March as we start to transition. Our next board meeting for Show-Me Christian County is on the 17th, so Wednesday of this week. From the February report, the only things that I want to highlight for you, Project Harding was a company that's looking at bringing their headquarters and another location to Christian County. They're ramping up in their busy season for this industry, and so this project is currently on hold, but they were looking at Ozark as well as all across the county. Again, as a reminder, anytime that we work on a project like this, we go through the full list of questions to identify what needs and what resources we might connect them to, from brokers to banks and lending partners or architects and engineers. Also, I think I referenced this last month, but we are still awaiting the final results of the market study application for the grant that we submitted through SIMCOG. That's still looking favorable. It just has not made its way through the entire process yet. And infrastructure projects that I believe we referenced last month. We are working with some developers and landowners in the city of Ozark to see if it makes sense. And again, the market study will tell us a lot more on whether these projects would be worthy of investment and if it's of highest and best use for these specific parcels. Are there any questions on the February update, or can I move on to some of the activity from March?
Any questions, comments?
No.
Okay, hearing none.
Okay, so
Everything else?
for the March update, just to highlight, and again, you'll see this information in written form, but this is real time, and so I didn't want this information to get stale. I just conducted a site visit today with a company. I'm naming this one Project Horizon. They are a regional company that's looking to relocate their headquarters to Christian County. Right now, the best site that we have available is in Ozark, but they are looking at other facilities, and they're also open to purchasing land and building as well. This is an estimation of 50 jobs that would be relocating, and this company is on a very fast pace for growth, and so we do anticipate them to continue that at least 25 to 30% growth year over year into the future. Other projects of note just for the region that's exciting and we don't always get to talk about. There's a new project for us, Project Daisy, and this is a company that's actually looking at locating in the Clever and Billings area. So while that's not in Ozark, I do think that it's always important to remember how we play into the region. What's good for any part of Christian County is good for Ozark. Down under business retention and expansion, there is an existing Ozark business under Project Evergreen, and they want to expand in the county and add a second location. So they have us doing an initial search for a location in Nixa. We are connecting them with brokers. Again, as a reminder, we do not have that license, nor is that our role. That would be an additional 20 net new jobs into the county. And again, this is an existing facility in Ozark, and they have about 40 employees right now. So under regionalism and alignment, just to highlight that, we have been doing a lot of work with Mr. Parsons specifically, and also Ms. Cromray with Ozarks Greenways, and Ms. Fields. And we participated in a presentation to the county commission on this trail discussion. These are ongoing discussions, and I'm sure Mr. Parson could fill in as he's been actively involved in those conversations. In addition, we had the ability to represent Christian County as well as representatives from Ozark with the National Association of Counties with the Task Force for Broadband Expansion. This is something that Commissioner Bob Dixon out of Greene County facilitated with Commissioner Phillips, and that was hosted at Nixa City Hall a couple weeks ago. Something else that we do on behalf of the city of Ozark that you might not be aware of is represent the communities at the Springfield Chamber of Commerce Transportation Committee. While we have staff members for both of our cities that are very engaged on the OTO level or the SIMCOG level, the Springfield businesses do not always hear our voice. And so that's something that we've changed over the last several months. Before we do this presentation, we reach out to staff from Christian County, from Ozark, and from Nixa to get a localized update and then bring that forth to the Springfield Chamber, again, to make our voice known in the region. For prepared communities, I'll just highlight a couple things for you there. We are working with a developer that's looking at a new concept here, and there might really be some very strong partnerships with other companies to do a sustainable green development. So this is in its very early stage.
Andrea?
Yes, sir.
Andrea, excuse me. The audio has cut out here, and give Sam a chance to fix that, and hold on for a second. But the last 2 or 3 sentences you said we did not hear.
Okay.
Oh, wow, we just heard it. Okay. All right, you're back on apparently.
So I'm good?
Yes, ma'am, you are. Thank you.
Okay. The only thing that I was talking about, we are working with a real estate developer that has a concept for new urbanization. And there are some very strong potential alignments that we've identified with partners in the region to make a sustainable or green development. And this is something that's piqued interest, but it is in very early stages. Again, just creating awareness and making the voice known. We did an economic development presentation to the real estate mortgage professionals of Southwest Missouri. And one of their questions specifically was in relation to limiting growth. We had that question to where they wanted to know if our communities were going to stop issuing building permits. And so we use that opportunity to create awareness that no, that was not the case. And we do want to continue to grow. However, we do have a real issue when it comes to sustainability. And we were able to utilize that opportunity to speak in favor of a future use tax. So I thought that was a really good opportunity. Also, we presented to the Ozark Leads economic development class, and I believe you would have to, well, actually now Miss Evans is now going to be with Show Me Christian County, but I believe they're in class 5 or 6. And that's the main highlights for March. Happy to answer any questions. And again, you'll see the full March written report in your packet next month.
All right, I've got a question, but Mr. Poston, you go first.
I wanted to hear more about the broadband task force.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that they as in the National Association of Counties. Again, Commissioner Bob Dixon out of Greene County serves on this coalition and is going around the counties in the region. I don't know if he's doing the 5-county region or making that out to the 10-county region, but they were specifically asking for barriers that stand in our way to building this out. It was a really good opportunity for the provider as well. Total High Speed was there and present and gave a voice to the fact that it costs $50,000 to $60,000 per mile of fiber that they lay. And again, we've talked about this in the past, but Total High Speed has received a significant amount of funds for USDA rural broadband. but it will be 5 years before we see the effects of that because of all the strings attached, the environmental and so on and so forth. So we were able to give a direct voice to that. Mr. Childers was also present and could probably speak to those efforts, but I thought it was a very good way for us to speak to the fact, yes, it shows that we are fully covered on the FCC map, but that is of course not the case in our community. So Mr. Childers, anything to add on that?
No, I think it was a good first step to getting a regional discussion going. I think we all know that, even in the new stimulus bill, the $1.9 trillion bill, there is a large amount of money that has been set aside for, again, the future expansion, further expansion of broadband in rural areas. I think one of the topics that city administrators such as myself and the city administrator Nixa would like to add to the conversation is, although there are issues in the rural areas, there are still challenges that we have in our own communities. And even though we may not be considered rural, still we do have those challenges. And so we want to make sure that when there's an opportunity for funding at the federal level, that we're putting ourselves in a position to be able to be competitive in that funding and try to make improvements. Because we know, at-home work and entrepreneurialism and, those types of things are going to be growing in the city of Ozark, and we want to be a part of that. So we're hoping to expand and improve on broadband in the city as well. But it was a great first step for discussing this as a big picture topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, any other questions for Ms. Seitz? Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Honor. Yeah, thank you, Honor. Besides, and Steve, I think both comments, I really appreciate both those comments because, and appreciate everything we can do there, because that is probably one of the biggest holdups of us maximizing our citizens' ability to stay home and work is the lack of the other two companies, other than Total High Speed, the other two companies in town. Service is just horrible. So anything we can do there, I think is beneficial. Using me for an example, I've been pretty much home since COVID hit. And if I still had my old provider, I would not be able to do that. And so, I would have been looking for other space somewhere else. So, and I know I'm just one person or whatever with my subs, but still, it's important that we get that broadband issue solved in Ozark. So that's all.
Yes, Alderman Smith and Alderman Poston both. There is currently $300 million that's been allocated through one of the rounds of COVID legislation through the National Telecommunications Infrastructure Administration. Total High Speed is planning to pursue those funds under a covered partnership with the state of Missouri, and they've been in discussions with them. Things that we have done to help that effort are setting up workforce meetings with the OTC Center for Workforce Development for a training pipeline, and also doing things like to line up letters of recommendation or letters of support from our federal legislators. Those are funds hopefully that they would be able to use in our communities and not necessarily tied to the rural areas like the USDA funds. So I'll keep you posted. Those guidelines have not been finalized yet, but it is anticipated to move pretty quickly once they do.
Okay, any other questions? All right, Ms. Seitz, I have a question for you. You mentioned that Evergreen is a company that's currently in Ozark, and they are looking to expand to Nixa. Well, the fact that they're interested or wanting to expand, I think is great. I'm just curious why they would want to have two locations. I mean, there must be a reason why they don't want to expand in Ozark, and I was just curious if you could elaborate on that. I'm not jealous of Nixa. It just seems odd, like it'd be more expensive.
Yeah, so to clarify, they will be keeping both locations. That is the intent. And they have a significant amount of their workforce that commutes in from the Monette area or out further on 60. And so that's why they're thinking if they put a location on both even though we're very close, but if they put a location on both the east and the west side of Christian County, that it will help from a workforce perspective. They are also nearly out of space in the location that they're currently in from a leasehold improvement. And so if they want to make one change, they thought we might as well make it more cohesive from a workforce standpoint. But they will be, at least their intent is to maintain both locations.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Any other comments or questions of Ms. Seitz? Okay, thank you very much. We will go on to new bills and new bill 3239. Mr. Poston.
Yes, sir. I move that we place Bill 3239 on its first reading.
Motion made by Poston, seconded by Smith. Put bill 3239 on its first reading. All in favor? All right, Ms. Callaway.
An ordinance amending the zoning code and official map by changing the zoning classification of certain property located at the 2300 block of North 20th Street.
All right, Mr. Smith, would you care to elaborate?
Yes, this application was heard at the last planning and zoning meeting. The application is for the rezoning of a property along North 20th Street from R3 medium density multifamily to an R4 high density multifamily. Surrounding the property to the east and south is industrial zoning and commercial zoning. And then also to the west is the single family zoning district, also known as Creek Bridge subdivision. Based on the comprehensive plan, it noted this area as a mixed use type area. So it is in conformance with the comprehensive plan, as well as this being a somewhat of a, or would be an appropriate buffer between a commercial and single family type zoning district. At the discussion at the planning and zoning meeting, some discussions and concerns that were brought up was concerns about additional noise of the area. And then how this development, as it would develop in the future, would impact the surrounding areas and other business locations in the area. There's also discussions about required building heights, additional traffic, and buffer yards, which would be addressed during the development of that project, not necessarily at the time of zoning. The zoning commission did recommend approval 6-0. And then based on the staff report and our findings, staff did recommend approval. Be happy to answer any questions.
All right, do any of the aldermen have questions of the staff about this? Okay, we'll go on to applicant comments. Is the applicant present? This is a public hearing, so we'll have public comment. Is the applicant present, Sam?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Christopher Peterson with Hush Black Law Firm on behalf of the applicant. I have nothing further to add.
All right, very fine. Are there any persons in the meeting room that would have comments on this application from the public? There are none?
No, sir.
Okay. Are there any? I don't see any visitors on Zoom. So I assume that the discussion is over. So if there's no further comment, we will hold this over. Close the public hearing, thank you, and hold this over to the next meeting. All right, Mr. Poston.
Yes, sir. I move that we place Bill 3240 on its first reading.
Do I have a second? Motion made by Alderman Poston, seconded by Alderman Stewart to put Bill 3240 on its first reading. All in favor? All right, Ms. Callaway.
An ordinance amending the zoning code and official map by changing the zoning classification of certain property located at 2010 South 20th Street.
All right, Mr. Smith.
Yes, this application is for rezoning of property along South 20th Street, just south of the Walmart Supercenter. The existing zoning is C2 commercial. The proposed zoning is R4 high density multifamily. Based on the comprehensive plan, it did note this area as commercial based on its existing zoning and the use at that time of the mini golf course. The zoning request for the R4 would be what you would find as an appropriate use around this area, and then also a traditional or a transitional type zoning around the commercial to the proposed or the future zoning of the PUD to the south, which would consist of some potentially single family, multifamily, residential, or some office commercial type use as a mixed use facility. During the planning and zoning meeting, there was no one in attendance as far as any discussions in opposition. The commission did recommend approval 6-0 to the board. And then based on staff's report and findings, staff did recommend approval as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, are there any questions or comments from the Alderman? All right, seeing none, is the applicant present for any comments? No, the applicant is not present. All right, are there any persons, any people in the room in person that would like to make a comment? All right, there are none, and there are no visitors on Zoom, so I assume there are no comments. We will close the public hearing and hold this over to the next meeting in April, first meeting in April. All right, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that we read Bill 3241 by title and short description only, please.
Okay, motion made by Smith, seconded by Poston, to put Bill 3241 on its first reading. All in favor? All right, Ms. Galloway.
An ordinance amending the budget for the fiscal year 2021.
All right, Mr. Childers, comments?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to, this is the budget amendment for the current budget as adopted in 2021. At the end of last year, when we were putting the budget together, which took a little longer just because I think everybody realizes what last year was all about. There were a lot of things that were up in the air. And so by the time that we set the budget, we knew we had some of the information that was going to change as we got into 2021, and that's what happened. So as we recognized that the numbers were actually in our favor, and we had some debt payoffs that allowed for us to increase the end of year cash projection, the staff has made these proposals, and the proposal in Exhibit A of this ordinance include facility remodeling, the purchase of public safety equipment, the purchase of property for the purpose to use as park property, and those associated costs, soft costs with that. Also, another improvement to a park project that we've been working on for quite some time, and that is the inclusive park. This budget amendment will allow for the completion of that, as well as some additional funds to conduct some important studies for the city that we're working on, as well as a purchase of a public works piece of equipment for within the street and stormwater budget. So again, the total amount of additions are $1,291,000, and we would like to ask to expedite this bill tonight. And the specific reason for that is because the closing date for the real estate purchases, which you will see as the next items on this agenda, are contingent upon this budget amendment being completed, as we have previously discussed in other meetings. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
All right, any questions from the Alderman, Mr. Childers? All right, Mr. Poston.
No question, Your Honor. Just a quick comment. Ms. Payne, I know how hard you work to fundraise for that inclusive park. You put a lot of effort into that. I am grateful that we are able to close the gap. I know we still got a while to go, but you did that. You did that. Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And we are still doing some fundraising. We've got a fishing tournament coming up in May, and still pushing forward with grants and stuff. So, but this makes it a lot closer for us. So thank you.
All right, any other comments from the Alderman? This is a first reading bill, so there will be this is a public hearing. Any other comments from the Alderman? Anybody in person in the meeting room that would like to comment on this? All right, there are none, and there are no Zoom visitors. So I assume that there is no further discussion. So Mr. Childers has asked that this be expedited for good reason. So Mr. Smith, I'll turn this back over to you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that we place Bill 3241 on its second reading by title and short description only, please.
All right, motion made by Smith, seconded by Poston to put Bill 3241 on its second reading. All in favor? All right, Ms. Galloway.
An ordinance amending the budget for the fiscal year 2021.
Okay, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that we adopt Bill 3241 as ordinance 21-026.
Is there a second? Motion made by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Stewart, to adopt Bill 3241 as ordinance 21026. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Galloway,
Aye.
Alderman Stewart,
Aye.
Alderman Alder,
Aye.
Alderman Flores,
Aye.
Alderman Poston,
Aye.
Alderman Smith.
Aye.
We have 6 aye votes, motion carries.
All right, very good. Mr. Smith. 3242. No, I'm sorry, Mr.
I think
Flores.
that's
Yep,
Mr. Flores.
that's me.
Sorry, RJ.
Oh, you're good. Your Honor, I would, I move to put Bill 3242 on its first reading by title and description only.
Motion made by Flores, seconded by Poston, to put Bill 3242 on its first reading. All in favor? Thank you. Ms. Galloway?
An ordinance authorizing the city to enter into a contract for the purchase of certain real estate known as Garrison Springs.
All right. Sam, would you like to explain or have comments?
Hey, we're gonna buy Garrison Springs, so
Yay!
yeah, we're really excited. We're supposed to close on Wednesday. So I would love for this to be expedited so that we can close on time. So if anyone has any questions, we are still fundraising. There is a group that's getting together, and we'll kind of start announcing that as we get the group together. But we're really excited. The grants came together. It took a lot of work. I appreciate John McCart's work, and a lot of my staff put some time and effort into this. So thank you to everybody that's really helped, because this will really move our Parks Department along. So thank you.
Okay, this being first reading bill is a public hearing, so any Alderman comments? Yes, Ms. Alder.
I don't know that it makes any difference, but on the explanation to this bill, we've got a date that says the term of the lease will expire and the property will be vacated no later than March 17th, 2021. I think that's a misprint.
It is, it's correct on the second one, but it was missed on that one. So we will change that to 2022.
Okay.
That was a good catch.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other Alderman comments? All right, we'll open it for any comments from the audience. Any visitors? None. All right, there are no Zoom visitors. So I assume there's no further comments, so we'll close the public hearing and turn it back over to you, Mr. Flores.
Your Honor, I move that we put Bill 3242 on its second reading by title and description only.
Motion made by Flores, seconded by Poston to put Bill 3242 on its second reading. All in favor? Thank you. Ms. Galloway?
An ordinance authorizing the city to enter into a contract for the purchase of certain real estate known as Garrison Springs.
Okay, Sam, any further comments? Or, no, I'm sorry, we've already done it. That was the second reading, my fault. All right, any further Alderman comments? All right, if not, Mr. Flores?
Your Honor, I move that we adopt Bill 3242 as ordinance 21-027.
Motion made by Alderman Flores and seconded by Alderman Poston to adopt Bill 3242 as ordinance 21027. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Poston,
Aye.
Alderman Stewart,
Aye.
Alderman Galloway,
Aye.
Alderman Alder,
Aye.
Alderman Smith,
Aye.
Alderman Flores.
Aye.
We have 6 aye votes, motion carries.
All right, Mr. Flores, Bill 3243. Nope, you're muted.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
Your Honor, I move that we put Bill 3243 on its first reading by title and description only.
Motion made by Flores, seconded by Poston to put Bill 3243 on its first reading. All in favor? All right, Ms. Galloway.
An ordinance authorizing the city to enter into a lease for a portion of certain real estate known as Garrison Springs.
Okay, Sam? Get away.
This will be John, I think.
Oh,
I think.
I think she said.
no, we're on the lease. We're on the lease.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, guys. So as part of the contractual agreement that we made with Garrison Springs, the owner, we are basically need to go into a lease to allow her to rent our property until she can get moved out. This won't cause any problems with the grant, and everything should just kind of go smooth. We just have to have the lease. And like I said, again, we have to go into this contract when we close. So if we could expedite this, I would appreciate it.
All right, any Alderman comments or questions of Ms. Payne? Okay, we'll open the public hearing. Are there any people in person that would have comments on this in the audience? There are none. There are no Zoom visitors, so I assume there's no discussion. All right, this needs to be expedited also, Mr. Flores, so I'll turn it back over to you.
Your Honor, I move that we put Bill 3244 on its second reading by title and description only.
It's 4-3.
Sorry about that. Move that we put Bill 3243 on its second reading by title and description only. Sorry, I've lost my packet over here. I don't know if I'm having internet issues or what.
Don't worry about it. This, everybody does it. So, and I've already done it twice. Okay. Was there a second? Thank you, Mr. Poston. Okay, now but that was the second reading, was it not? Okay. All right. See, even I get confused. All right, now motion made by Flores, seconded by Poston to put Bill 3243 on its second reading. All in favor? All right. Ms. Callaway.
An ordinance authorizing the city to enter into a lease for a portion of certain real estate known as Garrison Springs.
Okay, there are no further comments. Why, this needs to be expedited as well. Oh, I'm sorry, Bruce. You're awfully quiet when you wave your hand. Go ahead, though.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to explain to people that may be watching this Zoom meeting now or later, just the amount of time that the administration and the Board of Aldermen spent to try to work this purchase. And it was years in the making. And as I recall, when I was first elected on the board, along with other board members that are present, we had a brainstorm meeting, things that the administration and board members and this.
We're having trouble with your audio. Did that have anything to do with what we talked about earlier?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Bruce, I think it might be on their end.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You can. Okay. All right.
We can hear you intermittently. Try again.
Okay. Well, I'll talk maybe slowly, but more succinctly.
We're not hearing you.
You're not hearing me. Okay. Well, all I was going to say was congratulations to the administration and this board. There were a lot of hours and a lot of effort put into this project, and I'm glad to see it come to this conclusion. I could not have imagined it would have been executed so well.
Yeah, everybody froze.
That internet problem may be here.
Everybody else is not having problem hearing, Bruce, only us. So I think we've got the problem again because all of our screens are frozen. Everybody else can hear, I think.
Could everybody else hear Mr. Galloway?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
Could you hear Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I guess we were the only ones that were having difficulty hearing Mr. Galloway, so.
Well, I'll just add this. I won't
Jim Danny
repeat
is filling
myself.
the rest.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
Everything's freezing up.
Hang tight, everybody.
Yeah. It's just in all the, like everybody's. Frozen. They can hear us. And we can see ourselves. It's frozen.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know. There's really not much. I don't want to change internets because then I disconnect and reconnect, and I can't do that.
All right, you want to go ahead with
If we can.
best we can. All right, we have an internet connection problem on our end, and you all apparently can hear us, but we are unable to hear you all consistently. We can see you. We can see you. We need to vote on Bill 3243. So if there's no further discussion, we'll close the public hearing. And well, we've already done that. It's just time to vote after Mr. Galloway's comments. So Mr. Flores, would you proceed? We need to adopt Bill 3243.
Yeah. Your Honor, I move to adopt Bill 3243 as ordinance 21-028.
Hang on. It's frozen here, so if you can hear me, would you wave your hand?
I don't think you can see anybody, you can hear them, but you can't.
No, they
They're all
can't hear me.
They're all.
I asked if they could hear me to wave their hand. I assume you're still unable to hear me?
We can hear you.
Everything's frozen.
Speaking of broadband.
Okay, I ask everybody, okay, if everybody that hears me, please hold your hand up and wave it just a bit. Okay, Heather, you can hear me. Ted can.
I don't think they can, you can't see them, they can hear you, but you're not gonna, they're all frozen. So you won't be able to see
Well,
them.
Heather's not and Ted's not.
Well, I know, but.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out who can hear and who can't, so we can get this bill enacted.
Well, we have to see them.
Yeah.
Maybe we can see them, but.
If you can hear me,
To do a roll call vote, we have, oh, there you are. I see Jim.
okay. Alderman Flores made the motion, Alderman Smith seconded it, or actually, I think Alderman Galloway seconded it first. So it's been motion made and seconded for passage.
I believe
is correct.
the clerk will have to be able to have seen that occur on the video. So if it was frozen during that time frame, just have the second
correct.
read on.
On a Zoom meeting, you have to be able to see and hear to be able to count the vote.
But we don't have a second yet, so.
Okay.
Or whoever made the motion, I didn't see.
I'll second.
Or second.
I'll second. I'll second.
Let's see what we got here.
Okay, I know that some of you are moving, but some of you are still frozen. All right, if you can hear me, would you just wave your hand, please? Heather, can you still hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
We can all hear you, sir. I think it's just your room.
Like just you?
Would it be possible to just go into the other room where the public is?
The mayor's gonna relocate. Yes, that's where he's going right now. Bear with us, they're gonna move into the other room where the.
Yeah, people here to see everyone can read my.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's kind of spooky. People just disappear. Hey,
From everybody. Can you all hear me all right?
yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Can you
good.
hear us?
I'm in the meeting room, so we have a Bill 3243 has been, the motion has been made by Flores and seconded by Smith to adopt Bill 3243 as ordinance 21028. So we need a roll call vote, please, Chandra.
Alderman Smith,
Aye.
Alderman Poston,
Aye.
Alderman Stewart,
Aye.
Alderman Galloway,
Aye.
Alderman Alder,
Aye.
Alderman Flores.
Aye.
We have 6 aye votes, motion carries.
You want to sit here? Okay, well, we're improvising and we got that one done. All right, we go to ordinance 3244. Mr. Flores.
Your Honor, I move that we put Bill 3244 on its first reading by title and description only.
All right, motion made by Flores, seconded by Smith. Put Bill 3244 on its first reading. All in favor? All right, Ms. Callaway.
An ordinance authorizing the city to enter into a contract with the James River Basin Partnership for a community forest master plan.
Okay, Mr. McCart.
Yes, as we've talked about in the last couple of bills, Garrison Springs, and we were awarded 2 grants, and in order to meet the requirements of those grants, we had to go out for an RFP for a community forest plan. That community forest plan will help us determine how we're going to utilize those buildings on the property as well as the forest and what vegetation can be cleared out, bank stabilization on Garrison Springs, providing amenities to the public and things like that. So we went out for our RFP. JRBP, James River Basin Partnership, came back in the sum of $6,100. They won the RFP, and we're just going to move forward with that with your guys' blessing.
All right, do the aldermen have any questions of Mr. McCart? Any questions or comments from the alderman? Okay, this is a public hearing, so I'll open that. Any comments from anybody in the audience? Okay, apparently not, and there are no Zoom visitors, so we'll close the public hearing and see, there's no need to expedite that, I don't believe, so.
It does. We would like to request it to be expedited because everything is moving very quickly with this grant process, and we have a limited time to get this done and get it back to the federal government.
Makes sense. I don't have a problem with that. I just wasn't aware of it. I knew about the other 2. All right, so Mr. Flores.
Your Honor, I move that we put Bill 3244 on its second reading by title and description only.
I need a second. Mr. Poston. Motion made by Flores, seconded by Mr. Poston to put Bill 3244 on its second reading. All in favor? All right, Ms. Callaway.
An ordinance authorizing the city to enter into a contract with the James River Basin Partnership for a community forest master plan.
All right, No further comments, Mr. Flores?
Your Honor, I move that we adopt Bill 3244 as ordinance 21-2029.
Motion made by Alderman Poston, seconded by, or Alderman Flores, seconded by Alderman Poston to adopt Bill 3244 as ordinance 21029. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Flores,
Aye.
Alderman Alder,
Aye.
Alderman Stewart,
Aye.
Alderman Galloway,
Aye.
Alderman Poston,
Aye.
Alderman Smith.
Aye.
We have 6 aye votes, motion carries.
Okay, thank you for your patience with that. That's the end of the bills, the first reading. There are no second reading bills. Mr. Childers, you're up next for comments. Can you make them? He doesn't have, okay, that's right. He apparently doesn't have any, or is he running in here? What'd you say? Oh, he's still in the room.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I was just going to remind everybody that the breakfast meeting that's normally held on the 18th will be held at 8:30 on the 25th. I think you all got an email, and I just wanted to remind everybody of that. The reason for the change is that the Christian County Health Department has notified the city of Ozark that municipal employees are able to start getting their COVID shots on Thursday, the 18th. And so we wanted to certainly not miss that opportunity. And so we needed to move that meeting. So thank you for accommodating the rescheduling of that to the 25th. Mr. Mayor, that's all I had.
Okay. All right, Mr. Ms. Payne, any? All right, nothing on Ms. Payne's report. Mr. Smith, any comments on your report or any questions of the Alderman to Mr. Smith?
I'll be happy to answer any questions.
This is difficult because the screen in here is very small. So if you want to say something, you're just about going to have to holler. Okay, I see there are no questions or comments, Mr. Smith. So Alderman, anybody have any comments in general? Mr. Smith or Stewart?
Just a quick comment that it was pretty apropos that we were talking about broadband tonight. And I know glitches happen, but that's kind of an embarrassment for our city. And I would say that we as a city need to move with all post haste to greatly increase our broadband capabilities with all of the stakeholders involved, whether it's total high speed, CenturyLink, Suddenlink, I don't care. That's an embarrassment for us to have to go through that as a city. And knowing that there's neighborhoods 10 miles south of Ozark that have fiber and we don't in the city, again, is an embarrassment. Just an opinion.
We are aware of that and are working towards that. I would like for anybody else, golly, I can hardly talk with this thing. I would like for everybody to know that may be listening that this is the first time we've had this problem since we started the Zoom Board of Alderman meeting. So, but it's unfortunate. It certainly happened in spades tonight. So thank you all for your patience. I would like to echo on my comment something that I believe Mr. Galloway said earlier. This Garrison Springs project has been going on for years and years. We have gone back and forth with Ms. Braswell and her family and her realtor in a friendly way, but it's been an ongoing, almost an uphill battle, but a friendly one. And through a lot of work through Ms. Payne getting these grants, we are finally able to get an agreement on a price. And this is a really big deal because this is it's not a national treasure, but it's certainly a local one. And this needed to remain in the control of the Ozark Parks Department and certainly the ownership of the city. And I am just thrilled to death that that is going to happen Thursday morning. So thank you all very much for your patience with this. And thank you, Ms. Payne, and all of your staff and all of the staff for everything that they did. So I don't have anything. I don't have any COVID update. I think we're just hanging in there for a while. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Have a second. Motion made by Smith, seconded by Stewart to adjourn. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much, lady and gentlemen.
Thanks.
That was interesting.
I have some stuff for you to sign.
Okay. Sure.
It's in the other room.
All right.
How are you?
You're off to the